Hey, this is Kim Constable, and welcome to a really special interview. You are going to love what I have for you today. There is something really exciting happening next weekend, which I'm sure most of you have heard about because I've been banging on about it for ages. But it is the Peaceful Parenting Natural Learning Conference happening in Peterborough in England in the Crescent on the 6th of September, and I've been invited to be a speaker. Now, the event organizer is the person you see here today, Dayna Martin. Hi, Dayna. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, so I asked Dayna, I said to her, please, 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 can I do an interview with you? Because I really want people to connect with you, to hear your message, and maybe come along to the conference next weekend and hear what this whole unschooling movement, peaceful parenting, natural learning is all about. So here is Dayna's professional bio. So she is author of a couple of books, one of which I'm reading at the minute. I only just got around to reading it, Radical Unschooling, A Revolution Has Begun, and also the book Sexy Birth. She is a world-renowned advocate on the forefront of the unschooling movement and has appeared on The Dr. Phil Show, Nightline, Fox News, The Bethany Show, 60 Minutes. Is it Jeff Prost? Is that how you pronounce it?
Jeff Probst.
Probst.
Jeff Probst. He's the host of the show Survivor.
And also ABC's hit show Wife Swap. Dayna travels the world, and she really does travel the world, speaking and being interviewed on her work with unschooling and peaceful parenting. And she shares with others how they can bring more happiness, abundance, and success into their lives. That's really what this life is about. She lives in New Hampshire in the USA with her husband, Joe. And you have 4 kids, like myself, but older. Devon is 16 now.
Almost 16.
Almost 16. Tiffany 13, Ivy 9, and Orion 6. Her kids have never been to school and never been punished. It's true, never been punished. Yet they are incredibly kind, loving, passionate people who have their own businesses, speak about freedom and children's rights, respect the environment, and truly love learning. It's unbelievable. Dayna also has a YouTube channel, The Sparkling Martins, where you can go and check out what they get up to every day, just see their normal lives. They're not freaks. They're not, there's very normal people doing very normal things. So Dayna, hi.
It's always so an out-of-body experience when somebody reads my bio before I'm interviewed, because I just can't believe that I'm doing what I'm doing. It wasn't something I ever set out or planned. It just happened so organically and naturally, and I could never be doing this before I had kids. I was really insecure and could never do public speaking, but I think if you have something to say,
Yeah.
and you're so passionate about it, and you realize that it's not about you, it's about the message, and you're just the messenger, you can kind of get over a lot of fears. So it was my children who have brought me to this level of confidence and advocacy, and the Sparkling Martins channel, that's our new venture, and it was born out of the desire to share with people that were just normal people. The Wife Swap experience was awesome. It was so fun.
Yeah.
The kids all enjoyed it. It was something, they contacted me really late at night one night. It was like 10:30 and the phone rang, and nobody really calls me that late. And I looked down and it said a casting agency, and they asked if we'd be interested in going on. They had heard me on other television programs and seen my work, and I said, well, I have to talk it over with my family. So I talked it over with the kids and asked if it was something they wanted to do, have another woman in their home for 2 weeks. And
my kids would have said no. They would have been like, no way.
Yeah. Well, if my kids were your kids' age, I would have never done it. In fact, I was approached several years ago, and I wasn't in alignment for it. I wanted to make sure, because I was nursing and, all that. So everybody was on board. And, the kids, they got a fair share of what we got paid. And Devin went to Peru with his money. So this was a job that the kids all were part of, and they learned so much. Not only that they appreciated me more, but learning about TV. When you're part of a TV show, your kids learn so much. As a side effect of experiencing what the cameras are like. They all let the kids play with the cameras, and the equipment in our home was transformed for 2 weeks. And it was a wonderful opportunity. But the show, it has a slant. It has a certain angle that they're showing. So I wanted people to, and I thought they were really pretty accurate for the most part, except on the show they showed that my daughter and she can, in fact, read. She could read at the time of that filming, actually, but what she couldn't do was read on cue when an authority was threatening and kind of being, she really froze up. And so Cindy, the other mother, was pointing to our dishwasher, I believe, asking her to read what it said, and
trying to prove a point.
Intimidating for her, so she kind of froze up. But that was the one negative that I wish they didn't show, but I knew there'd be something.
Yeah.
It's all about drama.
I know, it is all about drama, but you know what? let's back up for just 1 second so that I can tell, so that people can really understand. You know, I've been doing this life for so long, well, not so long now. It feels like so long. It's been like 8 months. But I mean, how do you live with your family? I mean, can you explain what unschooling is? Because it's one of the biggest questions I get asked all the time. People are like, you what? You unschool? Like, what is that? Can you describe it for us, how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the term unschooling, I have a love-hate relationship with the label because, for one, I think it's kind of shocking, especially radical unschooling, which is what I promote, and I'll differentiate between the two. But I don't like how it shares what we don't do and not what we do. However, it's a really important label and term because what it means is not doing school. But I think a lot of people make the assumption that it's not educating or not being involved, when in fact it's the total opposite. It is just not doing school at home. So unschooling is not uneducating. In fact, it's reprioritizing and putting family first. And learning is important to me as an unschooling mother. However, it doesn't come before the solid foundation of trust and connection that I have with my kids. So radical unschooling is a twofold philosophy. On the one hand, it's educational freedom. And then on the other hand, it's a new parenting paradigm. Most of us were raised and are living right now in a culture that practices the authoritarian parenting paradigm, which means that the adult's role is to train a child, and they focus on behavior modification. And I'm sure all of you watching know, you've seen the nanny shows and seen the naughty step and all these gentle forms of discipline. But it really focuses only on the parents' needs and not on the children's needs. So that's how most of us were raised and had modeled to us. This type of parenting is completely different. It's a partnership dynamic, partnership parenting paradigm, where we focus on the needs of everyone in the family equally, and we respect them equally. So it's not right to punish a child. And I know that triggers people so much to hear, and I wish we had 5 hours, Kim, to really explain what you do instead of punishing. Because when you say you're not punishing, people assume that you're permissive or hands-off. That's the total opposite. In fact, punishments are easy, and rules are a replacement for being there, and they're really easy to implement. When this type of parenting is so hands-on, so connected, so present, it's not for the lazy parent.
No.
That's one thing for sure. As you know, now that you're doing it, it's a lot, isn't it? Here before, when you're living in authority, and it's the illusion of it being easier. But when you're not joyfully parenting and it doesn't feel good, you lose part of yourself. It's really sad. And people need breaks from their kids all the time because you're controlling them all day. Controlling another human being is not tough. A positive experience. It's not pleasant. So of course you need to get away and have breaks. When you live side by side in partnership, there's days that it's a little challenging because, gosh, we have 4 kids. You have to be in shape, don't you? There's certain sentences and certain words we say that really trigger people. One is that my kids never have to do anything they don't want to do. Now, I love to ask people to kind of sit with that for a minute. And what does it trigger in them? What do they feel when they hear that? Well, you have to do things you don't want to do. And I like to say, well, if you're conditioned to think that, this life, if you're stepping into this type of life, it really takes a lot of deprogramming, detoxing, deschooling, these preconceived ideas that you don't realize you were so brainwashed and conditioned as a child to believe to be true. We are proving that none of it's true. That mostly it was all a lie, actually, for the convenience of the adults around you. And they made you believe that this was for your own good, that they knew better than you, and all these things that are really damaging to another human being. So this life is so healing. And those of us as pioneers on the forefront of this movement, we have it challenging because we have a foot in each paradigm. We were raised one way, and yet we're doing something another way. And so we have to stop and think. We're reacting. If we're tired or hungry, oftentimes your reaction is based on how you were raised. And so it takes like a lot of rewinding and apologizing to your children when you're not at your best or not in a place philosophically that you're proud of. It gets easier and easier the more you do it. However,
it's tough. Yeah, it can be challenging. But Dayna, let me ask you a question. And I'm playing devil's advocate here, but like if your kids are never forced to do anything and they never learn that they need to get up, show up, do the job, how are they ever going to learn in adulthood that, how to get up every day and go to work? How are they gonna, how are they gonna do all those normal things that adults have to do if they've never learned it as a child?
Well, just because something is something a lot of people do doesn't mean that it's normal or natural or the most healthiest way. And I'll explain. Children that have gone through the system, like we did, we were trained to think that life is drudgery and that we have to do all this stuff. And we were trained to be compliant and quite miserable most of the time because we get used to being very unhappy. So then, you know, we're conditioned for 12 years, however many years, depending upon if you go to college or not, to take orders and live a mundane life. And then, you know, we know that someday we'll be happy, that if we jump through all these hoops, where my kids were never conditioned for drudgery. They have no concept of the fact that life would even be that way for a second. They would never take a job that they're not happy doing. So it really, this life takes such optimism. It takes realizing that so much of this lifestyle is facing life in a positive mindset. So my kids do things because they're not forced, then it makes sense to do so. So say brushing your teeth, for example. You have little ones. I'm sure that's been challenging at times for everybody. It makes sense to do so. My kids say their mouths feel better when they're clean.
I want to ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to talk about bedtimes because there will be many people watching this, and I get this a lot. So they want to give their kids a little more freedom, but the kids still have to get up in the morning. Do you have any kind of advice for those people? Because I know our kids are free to choose their bedtimes. Mine are, yours are. But talk a little about bedtimes anyway, for me, just in general, because it's a big topic.
When somebody first comes to this philosophy, and I know that we talked about this when you first stepped into it, there is a period of time where the kids
go nuts.
Are not used to total freedom. You know, where they're not used to total freedom, possibly. And so if you like remove bedtimes all of a sudden, of course kids are going to stay up till 3, 4 in the morning, or maybe not that extreme, but depending upon your family, but they'll stay up really, really late and kind of push themselves past their own balance because they don't know when you're going to instill limits again or controls. So there's a period of kind of overconsumption, you could say, with junk foods, or overconsumption of media, or you know, past the point that's healthy for that particular child until they balance back out. It's like the pendulum swings the other way for a while, a couple weeks, maybe months, and then it balances back out. So my kids have never had any bedtimes, none of them. Yet there's a rhythm to our life, though. I think that's so important, that every family is really unique, and your rhythm is unique to you. I'm sure you know that term rhythm from Waldorf because you started some Waldorf philosophy. I think that is a really natural, normal path for many people coming to a more natural approach. Waldorf talks about rhythms a lot, and I love that because we have a rhythm to our day, roughly, and my kids go to bed when they're tired and they wake up when they're well rested and done sleeping. It's not that complicated. But if somebody has to, I think giving information, if a child has to wake up to go to school, obviously they're going to be used to that rhythm, so it's not going to be challenging. On the weekends, I would totally give them freedom to sleep whenever they're tired and sleep late, so that at least they can have freedom twice a week, but rhythms just unfold. Joe started working earlier in the morning, and so he goes to bed earlier just naturally.
Yeah, I know, and that's one thing that I have found with my kids is that in the beginning they were like, you know, crazy, jumping around. Oh, wow, this is amazing. We have so much freedom. But they really had no idea how to. They didn't know when they were tired because they had never learned that. You know, and even if they were tired, they always fought bedtimes because, you know, if you're always doing what someone else tells you to do, then you're going to fight it. But now I find they just, you know, what I find and what I say to people is that, I don't know if you find this, but my kids naturally follow me because of their ages as well. They're 8, 7, 4, and 2. When I go to bed, they want to be upstairs. They want to either be in the room with me, or they want to be in, you know, in a room beside me, or they're on their computers, or they're, you know, watching YouTube, or if they're tired, they sleep. But if I want them to go to bed, if I feel that they're tired, and so I just go upstairs and get into bed, and I read a book, or I work on my computer, and they naturally just follow me. And then when we're all cozied up together, they're out like a light within minutes.
I think that's a great transition tool for people in regards to sleep. And because your kids are so young, they want to be really close to you, and that's perfect. That means that they're securely attached. That's one thing that's so important, is that your kids like you living this life. But we've been so brainwashed to think that that's somehow bad because we have to be the bad guy and the authority. I mean, how many times have we heard, I'm your parent, not your friend?
Yeah.
Well, I am my child's friend. They love to be with me. They enjoy my company. I love to be with them. Devin and Tiffany, my older kids, they don't need me to go to sleep. They stay up late and they have their own bedrooms, but we co-sleep with Ivy and Orion. None of my kids have ever had cribs. They've always slept where they wanted to sleep, and that's been near us until they've outgrown the need. So we've had a family bed that's evolved over the years.
I love that.
And so Devin and Tiffany are in their own rooms, and they chat with their friends all night. They're very, very social beings at their age, so they're gaming or playing, with their friends or connecting and telling jokes on Skype or whatever. We have unschoolers like Skyped in, like in every room all day. I swear. Every time I go into a different room, I'm like, oh, hi. Yeah, and there are other free kids. So our kids are really drawn to hanging out and spending time with other free kids. Yeah, I like the tool of transition that you're using if you're feeling like they're tired and you go up with them and
just stay connected. I think that's one thing I'm learning more and more than anything. I think that before, if I thought they were tired, I would have disconnected from them. Right, bedtime. Now, that's it, which is a complete disconnection. But now it's, do you want to come snuggle with mommy? And they go, oh yeah, I really do. And you gather them up and you lie with them. But then of course that brings up the other parents who are like, oh no, you should never sleep with your children because that teaches them to become, I don't know, something. I'm not sure what we think it teaches them, but to become like needy or something, or there is a big misconception about it.
I had a coaching call with somebody about this topic, and it's kind of like saying if you love your kids too much, they're going to expect it. If you love them and if you meet their needs and you respect them too much, then they're going to expect it. Oh my gosh, they're going to expect to be respected. So it's kind of funny when you really examine it.
Right.
But I think it's the idea that they're going to be dependent, like too dependent on you. When in fact, it's the total opposite.
Yeah. I would agree.
Pushes independence before a child naturally outgrows dependent needs, and when you do that, it warps the human being for the rest of their life. They have issues because of it. So my kids, their dependent needs are met completely. I'm completely surrendered to them. I nursed till they were done nursing, and that was all different ages depending upon the child.
Mine too.
Ivy and Orion still co-sleep. We have 2 queen beds pushed together until they outgrow the need. And my children, Devin and Tiffany, well, all my children, but Devin's the most independent human being I've ever met. He went to Peru for 5 weeks last year with some other teens. He is so independent because I met his dependent needs wholly when he had them. So all of these lies and misconceptions, you were fed with a spoon, all of you. Easier to make it convenient for the adults in your life.
Yeah.
So don't buy into the lies, because we're here. It's not true. Our kids are not overly dependent. They're not clingy.
No.
It's partially a result, both of the authoritarian parenting paradigm, but it's partially a result of age segregation. That's a really damaging thing when you segregate kids by age. People don't think about it, but it is damaging. These kids are reprimanded if they can't talk to adults like friends or like people, because they're the authorities. They're the ones telling you what to do all day and punishing you if you don't do what you're told. And then if you socialize with kids in a grade above you, they won't socialize with you. The older kids, they'll get made fun of, and vice versa. So these kids are really trained and manipulated to stay within their age range. Can you believe if we did that, Kim, we wouldn't even be talking?
No.
Are you 40?
No, I'm only 35.
I just can't. I can't do this interview.
No.
I'm 10 years younger. It's not going to work for me.
Yeah. No.
It's so unnatural.
Right.
Because with age segregation and institutionalization and controlling for the convenience of the adults around us, and I would recommend, honestly, anyone listening to check out John Taylor Gatto's book, Dumbing Us Down, and educate yourselves about the history of schools, why schools came to be. I used to tell people to do that in regards to birth, or choosing birth in a hospital. Do some research, learn about natural birth, learn what's normal, learn why why birth got moved into hospitals. Because once you educate yourself, you can truly make an informed decision. None of you are making informed decisions if you haven't educated yourself about why schools came to be and why the authoritarian paradigm came to be. Kim, you said that your son is well mature past an 8-year-old. And although I believe that with the average 8-year-old, he's more mature, I think that he's exactly mature that all 8-year-olds would be. And they were parented with respect and freedom. So your son is showing the natural course of maturity.
Right.
And it's the total opposite of what everybody would tell you as a result of parenting. Parenting him.
Right.
The complete opposite.
So it's so true.
I do think our kids are really mature for their age, but I think they're the natural result. I'm blown away with my son, Devin. Devin being only 15 right now. He's a blacksmith. He has his own shop. He does so many things, and every time I post pictures, people they love them and they comment, and I love that. I'm so happy that he's so admired, but I want to say that everyone's kids are capable of such amazing things if they have the freedom to pursue what they love.
Right.
And so, although I think my son's amazing, he's my son, and he's incredible to me. He is not necessarily an exception.
Listen, I don't want to go on too much longer, but I do want to ask you quickly about the conference this weekend. Tell me, what should people expect from the conference? I mean, what would be a good reason to come? What could they learn, or what's going to be happening?
Well, everything we've shared with you just briefly, it's going to be talked about for hours and much more depth, because this is a very in-depth, complicated philosophy to really grasp. I think people love the idea, but how to apply it, how to implement it, what tools do you need, what do you do instead of punishments, what do you do instead of rewards, what do you do instead of curriculum? We're going to share all of these, what do you do instead, at this event. And I want to say that I remember I do coaching every day with people, and when I met Kim, I knew that there was something special because, for one, we felt the sisterhood, and I just loved her. And for two, I wanted her to come speak because she got so passionate about the change. So she has a unique perspective. See, my kids have never gone to school. Right. We've parented this way from day one, so I have one strength to share with you. Kim has contrast, man. She's done it a different way, and then she's seen the results of doing it this way. So her insight's very valuable. We have another speaker, Marianne, from Scotland, who's going to share how to build an unschooling type of community, how to advocate for this life. So there's going to be somebody educating people on how to advocate. Plus, you're going to be surrounded with all these free kids. And another wonderful thing is Amy Lee, who's a famous Minecrafting video YouTuber. She's like a sister to me, and she's going to be there to hang out with all the kids. We've got so many craft supplies and face painting and temporary tattoos and all kinds of fun stuff for the kids to express themselves. I just hope you can make it. You won't be sorry. It will change your life. Even if you don't have kids, this philosophy is not just for education and parenting. This is a life philosophy, and I'd love to see you there. So please join us this Saturday. It'll be awesome. And past events that I've hosted, I've invited teachers. If you're a teacher and you're interested in alternative natural education, just to add to your own skill set, I think it's so vital to continue educating yourself about what's being done in this world. My book is titled Radical Unschooling, A Revolution Has Begun. Yeah. And it was published back in 2009, and it still continues to hold true today. It's the basic facets of unschooling. If anybody wants to learn more about unschooling, you can visit my website, daynamartin.com. All the links will be below this video. Yeah, all the links will be below this video. We're going to have links to your website. We're going to have your details about your coaching, a link to your book on, where's the best place to buy it? Through your website, probably? Amazon, you probably give away like a whole... Amazon, anywhere, most bookstores carry it. Dayna, you have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. All the details will be underneath this video. And thank you guys for watching. As I said, without you, none of these videos would even go out. No one would be interested. So it's you guys who make it all happen. And I really appreciate you. Dayna Martin, thank you so much. Don't go away, because I'm just going to stop the video and then we'll continue to chat. Okay. Thanks. Take care. Bye.